time to catch up with Tim and Fuzz of Car S.O.S. This is always great fun to talk to these guys. And why are we doing that? I've done a couple of these before, and as ever, it's because they're launching their next series. And the next series, this is series 12 of Car S.O.S. Can you believe it? Isn't that incredible? And in fact, here's an interesting fact, that over the years, Tim and Fuzz have done 120 cars. And it's not just cars with Car S.O.S, obviously. I mean, there's lots of shows out there that do cars, that buy them or renovate them, restore them, etc., etc. And that's obviously part of what they do. But it's more than that. It's the stories behind those cars. It's the relationships that those owners have with those cars. It's the heart-warming stories, the heart-wrenching details of some of the tragedies that have befallen those people and the joy that they get by being reunited with their pride and joys. It's just amazing, you know, and these guys, what they do, it's not just a car show. I just feel that it's so much more than that. But here we go. The next series is starting. It's starting on the 7th of March at 8 p.m. Of course, on the National Geographic Channel. And they will have they often have superstars joining them. And the two of them, they have some others, but two names they've released so far is Sir David Jason, Only Fools and Horses, and Mick Hucknall, the Simply Red singing superstar. And some of the cars that I can reveal to you, I've seen 3 episodes. So the production company very kindly sent me early preview of 3 episodes. I saw episode 1, that was a Ford Popular hot rod. I saw episode 3, which is a BMW E30, but not just any E30, the Alpina. That was really special. And the episode 6 was a Citroen SM, which was extraordinary. The technical aspects of that one were incredible. All 3 of those episodes were just fantastic. I gotta say, the Ford Popular one really, that had me, you know, close. Well, actually, it had me in tears. Let's be absolutely honest. It had me in tears. It's so heartwarming, that one, and it's such a passionate story, such a poignant story with that one. Same with the BMW 30, just to see the owner reunited in that one, and to see the sensations and the feelings that he had towards that car, which I can totally relate to, was absolutely incredible. But anyway, a lot of great stuff to get into. Let's find out what they've been up to. Let's find out what they're doing, and let's chat to them about Series 12 of Car S.O.S.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
So I have to insert a static picture of Fuzz into the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. I mean, you know, hold on. Can you see anything here? Oh, come on.
Choose one when he was younger.
You can fix incredible cards that you find, which are almost like unrecoverable.
It's terrible, you know. The fact that Tim is constantly on about age. He's very conscious of it because
I'm approaching 50.
Turns 50.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 2 months, Fuzz. I hope you've been saving for a long while.
We are both going to be in our 50s.
Yeah, for about 3 months until you hit 60.
Not even that long, but I'm going to enjoy being in my 50s at the same time as you.
Yeah. Here comes the bus pass.
Nothing. 50 is nothing, guys. Yeah. But honestly, 50 and Series 12. I mean, oh my gosh. Series 12. How has that been?
I was young and gorgeous. I was young and gorgeous when we started this.
You've never been gorgeous. You have been young, but you've never, ever been gorgeous. Don't think that's the case. Not even.
In all honesty, I mean, you know, when you talk about Series 12, and you know, when you're a fan of the show, when you watch the show, when you watch the episodes, when you look at the highs and lows that you guys go through, sometimes, I mean, you know, one could argue that's aging you, but is it really as stressful as it looks like sometimes on in the shows?
Yes, is the answer to that. Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes it is. You know, it's a real difficult thing, you know, when you're trying to get everything coordinated so that you can hit everything, hit all your targets in one go. It's spectacularly awkward, especially if you've got like a, you know, say, this series we've done a couple of cars, one that we've got in at the moment I can't mention yet, but you know, it's a very low production run car, so to get parts for it you're having to deal with people who who supply parts as just like a pastime as part of their hobby, and to try and ask them to suddenly drop everything, sort of stop their normal lives and sort of root out things for us is a big ask, really. So it can be incredibly difficult.
We've taken a few new things this time. One of the most interesting things for Fuzz and I, and the biggest challenges, was the fact that we had to create this sort of sensory space for a guy called Darren, who was the victim of it wasn't a hit and run. He was holding his grandson, got hit by a car crossing a street. Grandson, he managed to sort of project his grandson to safety, and then bore the brunt of this impact and has been left brain damaged, living in a nursing home, having previously been a happily married, 2 kids, living at home, working as a bus driver. This guy is now...
You're talking about a guy who, in photographs that are sort of like as recent as 2 or 3 years old, there he is, smartly, crisply dressed, kind of, lad about town. Clear, you can kind of see, the kind of guy he was and the kind of life he was living. And even when we met him, you could see it's all there, but just really, he's had the rug pulled from under him. Really, he was a very capable car restorer. He was doing everything himself, and suddenly to have so much of his life taken away from him is absolutely criminal.
Well, he's now blind. Pretty much, he can see some grayscale, sort of occasional sort of outlines of things. As I say, living in a nursing home, wheelchair bound. Clearly, when you meet him, he's had a big mental impact. He's had a big mental impact on him. And we had to create. Fuzz and I went about doing something which is a first for us, even after 120 episodes. We wanted to create a sensory space. We wanted to. Basically, what happened is Fuzz and I had the idea of, we were sitting around talking about it, saying, look, what is it when you drive in a car, when you're a passenger in a car? What does a car deliver to you? Which senses does it fire off? And one of the main ones is the visual stimulation. But Fuzz and I were like, okay, well, if you don't have the ability to see things, then how do we max out on that stuff? So I went out with a blind chap, and he took me out. I went out in my car, in my GTR, and I was asking him to describe what he can feel, and it was amazing. It was an epiphany, because he was literally acting like my navigator. I cannot tell you how I was sitting at a road that was driving down a straight road, and there was a left turn begin to come up, and he'd be going, right, you've got a left turn coming up, and I was going, Andy, how do you know this stuff? And it's because of the feedback from the car. So I went back to Fuzz and said, right, Fuzz, we need to create this car for Darren, the car's owner, so that it fires all his neurons. It gets everything going. So we made it all about the things we did were Fuzz, you did the twin Webers on it, right?
So we fitted twin Webers up front, modified the exhaust system and all that kind of thing. I mean, this sounds kind of almost counter to what we normally do, which is take off big fat exhausts and stuff, and take off sort of modifications and sort of get things back to factory. But we went absolutely the other way here, and made it so that it was loud and proud, and so really so it gave as much feedback. I mean, we stiffened up the suspension and all that kind of stuff. So everything.
There was a subwoofer.
The subwoofer underneath the seat was absolutely. I mean, that was Tim's idea. That was genius.
So really sort of focusing on the sensory perception of the car. That's an extraordinary thing. I can't wait to see that episode. I've been very fortunate. I've seen 3 of the episodes from the current series. I don't want to spoil it too much for viewers, but there's one car that you actually couldn't save. You had to replace it. I mean, how difficult is it when you have to do something like that?
Well, that's not the first time we've had to do it. You're talking about the Ford Pop, I guess, the hot rod.
Yeah, I was trying not to spoil it, but okay, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, there was, when you take on a car, there are certain cars you take on that have had some sort of life. Now, unfortunately, that car, which had been built, probably in the 1970s to the standards of the day kind of thing, and it was fine. We took it into the workshop, and there was so little of it that we could use or save that we had to take a decision, and the decision was to start again. I mean, we did that. We did it with a Ford Anglia once. We did it with a Fiat 500. It seems to be these sort of like massively popular little cars, and again, this Ford Hot Rod was no different. There was the way that the chassis had been strengthened over the years and then had been repaired, basically meant that everything was twisted, everything was out of shape, and we couldn't run the risk of letting Andy and Kim, his wife, back into the car, really. So we took it up.
Did you tell Andy at the end of this? Because I didn't see that in the episode. Was he told that it wasn't actually the same car?
Oh yeah. I mean, clearly, yeah. It has to know that, because obviously we don't transfer the registration number or anything like that. Right. So it is.
What a sad episode!
It was a very emotional episode, that one. I tell you what, I couldn't control myself at the end of that one. I was really in tears, honestly.
And what a great guy as well at the reveal. What an absolutely splendid bloke he was. Because of course we spend a lot of time talking about people that we don't get to see until the very last moment. And
also you're never quite aware that it's very hard to ever get into somebody else's shoes and understand the impact that classic cars can have on people's lives. I mean, Shaz, that car has given them their life back. I mean, if you having watched the episode, you're aware of their backstory. You're aware of what happened to him. I mean, he was stabbed.
They've had such totally outrageous. Imagine
palsy, bullied, the worst names you could possibly imagine, and stabbed for being different, for being disabled. And they became recluses and never left the house. The car was the only thing that Kim said would give Andy the impetus to want to go out and go to car shows again, where he feels safe. So for us to have the opportunity to create that freedom for that man and for his wife is just it's a lovely thing to get the opportunity.
It's amazing. I'm just wondering when you guys are going to get your sainthoods, because honestly, you are the saints of the automotive.
Oh, don't be silly.
What you
have to wait until you're dead for
that.
Not long then, Fuzz. Not long for both of us.
All right, okay, here we go. Back to
You've done some amazing cars in this episode. So you've done some incredible cars. You did the SM. I saw that one. That was amazing. Yeah. You've got Honda CRX, which I've owned, and car. You've done a Nissan 240Z, and you've done a car that you may recall, Tim, is very.
No, it wasn't a 240Z, Shazam. No, it wasn't a 240Z. It was a 240K Skyline.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh,
Datsun.
Yeah, Datsun.
Before the kit, yeah.
But you've also done, the one I got excited about was an E30. And as you know, Tim, I've got an E30. And I was like, oh my God, they've got an E30. Right. But not just any E30.
Yeah, we did the Alpina. We did I mean, the one which in my mind is better than an M3, an E30 M3. And I know I'm going to ruffle feathers saying that, Shaz. No. But, it's got the straight six in it, which the E30 is all about. Now, I know you've got a wonderful E30, and the thing I love about you is you go to car shows, you get out there and you use your classic car. This one was just an honour to work on. It was a genuine Alpina, and from being
was it a genuine Alpina though, Tim? Was it?
Yeah, no, that was the thing, Shaz. You remember from back in the day. I mean, these cars, me and my mates always used to buy the Alpina badges. You could even get the engine plaque and the dashboard plaque, and you can do all the wheels, 20
the stripes on the sides,
Absolutely. But this one...
Badges and stripes don't make the type, do they?
That's true. We went to Alpina. I went to Alpina. I mean, what a highlight! I mean, I went to Alpina in Buchloe. You come around a corner of just like a housing estate, and bang! There is the Alpina sign. There is the crank, and there are the throttle bodies, a little sign. And you just go, hang on a minute. This is a place that shouldn't really exist. But it's the engineering that Alpina creates is absolutely wonderful. That was the BMW that BMW couldn't make, because they couldn't work out how Alpina could get so much power from their early ultimately racing cars, touring cars. So what an honor to work on that car. I mean, I've had 3 or 4 E30s. I've never had the real thing. I've never had the real deal.
So close. Have you? So close and yet so far.
So far, yeah.
That was also an amazing story. That was a brilliant story, and to see those guys, and again, quite an emotional ending on that one. It was extraordinary to watch.
Oh yeah, we just gave it back at my mate's house, King Charles.
Yeah. You wish.
But also it resonated with me because the stuff that you found on the Car Fuzz. I mean, my car is actually, I'm just going to go pick it up today, but I'm just replacing the brake linings and the fuel linings because they're corroded on that. And you had that on that car. And also,
absolutely.
I've also got the bulkhead rust as well. But, the trouble is I mean, it could be too much. It's a difficult one, that.
It is. It's a really difficult one, but you need to watch that because they go around where the brake pedal and all and the master cylinder are and stuff like that. So you can get a situation where everything goes horribly wrong and the rest of the car looks absolutely great. But if you go to stomp on the brakes in an emergency and something gives on that bulkhead. It's a big thing though because you have to take the whole of the dash out. And everything.
This is it.
Yeah, it's a bad thing.
I'm really in a dilemma now. What to do about?
Well, I'll tell you what, Shaz. The first thing to do is get yourself a sharp pointed object, a little dibbler or something, and just push into the carpet around where everything is mounted there. And see if it goes through. If it goes through, then no two ways about it. You've got to do it.
Okay, good advice. I will do that, and I might take you up on your offer, Tim, as well. So, talk about some of the other cars. You got the CRX. I mean, wow, what a legendary little thing.
I'm just amazed. We're doing all these new cars.
Modern classics.
What's
Yeah, no, the thing is though, you can't really, they're just clinging out. You can't call them moderns anymore, Fuzz. It makes me feel sick to say that because the Mark II Golf GTI still feels like a new car to me. The CRX, it feels like I should be going to see one of those in the showroom. Calling them a classic just makes me aware of my age, dude.
Well, that's right. Honestly, that's the other thing. But every time now I open the bonnet on a car, I peer inside and there's an internal combustion engine there. I always think, wow, that's like, now that is old. It's like a steam engine pulling the commuter train. It's almost got to that stage. It's almost end of days in a way. Although of course we do have Ford and Honda going into bed together on hydrogen power, haven't we? So
Toyota are leading the way there. So
maybe it's not all over yet.
There's lots going on, but one of the clear things, and I think this is one of the things that your show does so well compared to every other show, is prove that emotional and that sentimental connection between man and machine. I mean, again, literally to see that episode with Andy when he got into the Popular and you switched the exhaust onto loud, just the expression on his face, it just kind of sums the whole thing up, doesn't it?
It does, that to me, that's the one. That is the episode that communicates how you connect with a piece of metal. It's funny because I meet lots of people who don't have classic cars and don't work on cars, and they don't get it. But it's funny how I've had certain people, like even my daughters, who used to not get it. But then when I say, Sophie, come round, I'm changing exhaust on this, I'm doing this. And then the feeling of reward, that feeling of reward when you've achieved something with these hands, with a toolkit, the 200-piece toolkit from Halfers, which is the one, I've got loads of tools, but that's what I keep going back to. Everyone's got one of those. Well, when you make a fix on something, it is just so damn rewarding. And for us, with the Ford Pop and many other episodes, we did one, the CRXs, as we mentioned, with a guy called Tim, and he has polyps on his, basically, unfortunately, he's had to have most of his organs below his stomach removed, which is how he's alive, is incredible. But his car, his CRX, means so much. I mean, for me, I don't know how other people do, but when I fall asleep at night, I line up the projects I've got in my head to do, and it distracts me from the madness of my own head or worrying about stuff that I shouldn't be thinking about. I just sit there thinking, I need to buy some stainless steel M10 half nuts, for the brake lines, whatever it happens to be. And I can distract myself with these jobs I've got to do for whether it's my own projects or Car S.O.S projects. So actually, it's a win-win situation. Working on a car not only teaches you stuff, but it distracts you from the mentalness of our own heads. That's what I believe.
There's also the other thing, about owning classic cars, and that's and people's sort of like output viewpoint in general, which is, if a car just simply means transport, then just think of how much of your life you're kind of missing out on. Even if you only sort of like travel half an hour on each, on half an hour in, half an hour out of work every day. That's 5 hours of your life that, it's just transport. You're kind of, sort of like twiddling your thumbs. Whereas if you are driving and you are on a journey, then that is a totally different thing. If you can get into your car every time and be on that journey, then that is a great thing. It's not just about hitting the destination. It's about, it's the whole thing from the moment you get in to the moment that you get out, and you sort of like give that little wistful look behind you and go, yeah, can't wait to do that again.
That's mine.
You're talking about the wistful look. Every time you complete one of these, what is the feeling of, the having done it, having completed it, having gone through that journey and then handing the car over?
It's only that moment only comes when Fuzz and I, when we hear you're wrapped. And the car has gone. When you've got the owner standing there, and the lovely thing is, Fuzz will agree with this, the owners always seek us out. Once we've done the show bit and I've done the interview, and the owners are then, you can now relax, and everyone's wrapped, and we can now go, forget television for a minute, relax. That's when the owners come over us and go, hey, Tim, Fuzz, and you just get this lovely firm handshake and a pat on the shoulder, and they just go, we really appreciate it. That, for me, is the moment where you just think, hey, we've been lucky enough to do a really lovely thing for this person. And you get a look from their eyes. Shaz, I could shake your hand and look you in the eye and go, hello, mate, how you doing? Well, thank you, mate. But then you can do it, and you can communicate so much more through the eyes, through the body language, through the firmness of the grip. And that, to me, is a moment where I just go, it was all worth it.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's like unblocking a sewer, because, you do it, and everything gets flowing, and then you know exactly what's coming your way next time. It's another big load, just every time.
Well, you're still filming. You're still filming the current series, aren't you? So
yeah, we are. Yeah, so we're not out of it yet. We're not out of it at all.
You get a break at all between the series? It's like every year, like clockwork, we speak about your next series, and it's like you've done 10. I mean, people watch an episode and they think, "Well, that's it," but that's 10 cars that you've done in a year.
Yeah. Well, we still have 3 to complete for this series. So if you imagine, we've still got before, I think we'll manage to get probably 2 out of that 3 out before the first episode airs. But as that first episode airs, we'll still have another one at least that is still going to be in process. So
it is hard work, Shaz. You know what? We're used to it now. We've done 12 years of this, but it's not like presenting any other show you'll ever. We're barely the presenting side of stuff is 20% of it, if that. It really is. As I'm sitting here now listening to Fuzz talk, I'm panicking about whether or not we can get EBC to make these calipers to fit a certain car that I can't mention yet, because the size of the size of the wheels that the owner's son wants us to put back onto it, because they were his dad's car's wheels. So
it's
pushing these companies to the limit.
Right. Yeah. It is. It's difficult. I think the other thing is.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think one of the other amazing things about your show is the way that you're able to find these people and highlight them who have very specialist and very unique skills that are, niche for a niche car tailored to just a particular model.
Well, that's true. But the great thing is that, there are loads of people out there who are very talented, some superbly talented people. Yeah. And it's great that we're actually getting to see more and more of those people, on our screens nowadays, not just in our show, in all kinds of shows, just really talented sort of small
artisans.
Business people who've just come, who step up to the mark and go, look, I think we're going to be able to do it. Things that people like Rick Wood. I mean, what an absolute genius! That guy steps in and does the stuff that other people cannot touch. We need him. We rely upon him. To be able to do stuff.
There's a guy called Tommy that I've just found who lives in Glossop. Up here, not far from where I live, and he is 28, cool dude, looks like a bit of an emo lad, tattoos and all that sort of stuff, black floppy hair, and he is probably one of the best panel beaters I've ever made. He is making himself from scratch, or he's making Ferrari Dino panels from just flat pieces of steel they're getting. He's made himself a Ferrari Dino from nothing.
Wow.
And
Brilliant.
he is absolutely brilliant. He got an English wheel, a shrinker stretcher, some hammers, and I sent him a card the other day, a picture of a car that had been written off on Copart. And he said to me, I said, Tommy, I've got a challenge for you. I'm thinking about buying this old Mackie here. The back end, the back quarter was absolutely stoved in. And he went, yeah, Tim, get it on the low loader, pull it up outside a Copart, and I'll do it there. I was like, what? He was like, I'll panel beat it there. I'll get the weight. I was like, no, everybody else is saying it needs a full new quarter. And he went, nah, the metal was there. The metal started life flat. It was bent into that. It's been bent into a weird shape. I'll bend it back in the street. Yeah. With his panel beating hammers. I mean, brilliant.
It's extraordinary. Like watching the Citroen SM episode, to have that unique engine with parts you can't even find, to take it to that guy that actually, remanufactured the valves and stuff. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, that's Rick Wood. And let me tell you that there was, even for him, there was a twitchy moment there, because we had to put new cylinder liners in, and because the engine had been machined. Was being machined ready to take to go from 2.7 litres to 3 litres. That meant obviously left meat on the actual crankcase of the engine, and so that had to be milled out to take the larger liners, and that in turn meant that we had to heat the block up and chill the liners. And if you get it wrong, if you get them in just slightest wrong position, that's it. The engine is scrap, because you can't undo it. You can't heat everything up and pull the liners out, because the fact of the matter is that they're wedged in at that point. So it has to go right first time. It has to be planned, and that's where some of these people are absolutely brilliant. Some engineers are brilliant. Rick especially so, just able to go, right, okay, this is what we do, and we've got a 3-minute window to do this in. Otherwise, we may as well just chuck it all in the bin. And so things that people who are prepared to do stuff like that, not just do it, but actually do it on camera, I think it's outstanding and amazing.
Well, it looks like it's going to be another great series. There's another interesting car that you've got on there, which is the Datsun, the 240. Tell me about that one.
240K. The 240K.
240K Skyline.
Yeah.
Original Skyline business.
240K, so one of only 2 on the road in the country at the moment, Shaz, and one that had a T-top put in it, so somebody had hacked away at the top of the, basically turned it into a Targa, which Fuzz and I were just like completely nonplussed by.
Can we say that it was an asymmetric Targa as well? It was just kind of, they'd done one side and then gone, okay, well, let's just do the other side, and
the other one.
There was nothing kind of matched or anything like that, and it was dangerous.
Parts.
We took it up on the lift. And it was just pulling apart everywhere. So, it was in a pretty bad way. It had been done in the 1980s, very early on in the cars.
But luckily, I developed a new technique never been seen before. To actually take a molding of the roof off another one, the only other one that's on the currently on the roads in the UK. The one that we use for the pristine, as we call it, where we drive one on the show, a nice example of one. I got to know this lady, Kay, on her doorstep and begged her to let us cover her car in a very, very thin sheet of 3M plastic, which is like, it's the stuff that it's the sandwich bags are 10 times as thick as this stuff, and then spray her car in spray expanding foam, the kind of stuff that if you get it anywhere near skin or clothes or anything, you cannot get it off. We covered a car in that, took a mold of it, and then made a concrete horse, basically made a concrete mold of her roof, to which then I gave it to our metal guy, Gaz, and he beat a 240K roof from ultimately a piece of concrete to fit the car.
But the thing is, Shaz, Tim hadn't met Tommy from Glossop then, and Tommy from Glossop would probably have taken a photograph, a bit of steel, and knocked it straight on there. But Tim's method was ingenious. To make a buck out of expanding foam like that is a great way of doing it, and I think. Gaz, the panel beater, had a bit of fun sort of working to it. I think he thought, well, I'll give it a try, see if it works. And then when he offered the panel up, it worked. So, you know, it's
Fluke.
like there are so many ways you can do these things. Fluke, well, there's probably got to be a bit of that.
Yeah.
But it did work. So that was good.
I think it's a mixture of fluke, but hard work, skill, talent, and I think definitely good intention. So I think it's going to be another great series. I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much, guys. Well done.
That's cool.
Cheers,
That's cool. Good to hear
Take care,
from you
dude.
again.
Hopefully see you next year, man. I'll see you at the British Motor Show, no
Yeah,
doubt.
the Mo Show, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these three little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.